It rang at midnight. I remember because the house was silent, the kind of silence that makes every creak sound like thunder. I reached out in the dark, fumbling for the glowing screen. My phone was on the nightstand, but this wasn't mine. The ringtone was unfamiliar, sharp and urgent, coming from the drawer of his bedside table. Curious and half asleep, I pulled it open. There it was, a phone I'd never seen before. Sleek black, no scratches, no case, just buzzing like it had been waiting for me. I hesitated. My heart already raced. Why would he have a second phone? Why would he keep it hidden? Before I could think, my fingers slid across the screen. I put it to my ear. And that's when I heard it. A man's voice. Low. Whispering. Intimate. I love you. My body went cold. My throat tightened. I couldn't speak. For a long moment, I just sat there in the dark, listening to the static after his words, waiting for something else. Then the call ended. The room was still. My husband slept beside me, his chest rising and falling, his face peaceful like nothing was wrong. But the phone in my hand told another story. It wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant to be found. And in that moment I knew this phone carried a secret big enough to shatter everything. I couldn't sleep after that call. The words "I love you" echoed in my ears long after the line went dead. I sat frozen in the dark, staring at the black screen, my husband breathing steadily beside me. I wanted to shake him awake, to shove the phone in his face and demand an explanation. But something held me back. Instead, I slipped it back into the drawer, quietly, carefully, and lay down. My body was tense, my eyes wide, my heart thundering against my ribs. His secret phone burned in my thoughts. Who was the man on the other end? Why did he whisper like it was a ritual, like this wasn't the first time? The next morning, I pretended everything was normal. I made coffee, laid out breakfast, even smiled faintly when he asked if I'd slept well. Fine, I lied. Inside, my mind raced. His phone, the one I knew, lay on the counter buzzing with work emails and group chats. But the other one, the secret phone, was tucked away, silent, like it had never rung at all. I waited until he left for work before I opened the drawer again. The phone was still there, screen dark. My hand shook as I pressed the button. No lock. No password. That in itself felt deliberate, like it wasn't meant to be hidden behind walls but meant to be easily accessed by the right person. I scrolled. The call history made my stomach twist. No names, only numbers. Repeated calls at odd hours. Midnight. 2 a.m., 3:17 a.m. Always incoming, never outgoing. As if someone else always reached for him, never the other way around. The messages were worse. Threats of short, cryptic words. Are you awake? When can I see you? And then, don't let her find out. My chest tightened. Her. That meant me. I slammed the phone shut, my hands trembling so badly I almost dropped it. I stuffed it back into the drawer, my breath coming fast. The rest of the day was torture. Every time my own phone buzzed, I jumped. Every time his name popped up in my messages, I wondered if he was using that phone instead to text someone else. I couldn't concentrate on anything. My world had shrunk down to one black rectangle, hidden in a drawer, and the voice of a stranger whispering love to my husband at midnight. When he came home that evening, I watched him closely. He moved easily, casually, dropping his keys on the counter, loosening his tie, smiling faintly when he asked about dinner. No trace of guilt. No sign that he knew I had found the phone. But when he walked past the bedroom, I saw it, the way his eyes flickered to the drawer. Just for a second. Small, quick. But enough. He knew. That night I stayed awake again, waiting. At 12:05 the drawer buzzed faintly. I held my breath as he shifted in bed, pretending to be asleep, then slipped his hand into the drawer. He pulled the phone out carefully, shielding the screen from me, and tiptoed out of the room. My pulse roared in my ears. I counted the seconds, then followed. I stood in the hallway, the dim light from the kitchen spilling across the floor. His voice was low, softer than I'd ever heard it. Yes. I miss you too. I'll come soon. The silence that followed stretched out. Then his words again, quieter. No, she doesn't know. My stomach flipped. He was talking about me. About keeping me in the dark. I backed away before he saw me, my hands covering my mouth to muffle the sound of my breathing. When he returned minutes later, sliding back under the covers, I lay still, eyes shut, pretending to sleep. But inside I was wide awake, shattered, every nerve on fire. The secret phone wasn't just an object. It was a doorway. A doorway to another life he lived when I wasn't watching. A life where I was just a shadow he lied to in order to whisper love into someone else's ear. And as I lay there, staring into the darkness, one truth settled in my chest like a stone. The man beside me was not the man I thought I married. The nights blurred into each other after that. Midnight became the hour of dread, when I lay in the dark, pretending to sleep, while he slipped out of bed with the secret phone glowing faintly in his hand. Sometimes it was the kitchen, sometimes the bathroom, once even the porch when he thought I wouldn't notice. Each time his voice was low, careful, almost tender. I memorized his words. I love you too. She's asleep. Don't worry. Every sentence carved deeper into me. It wasn't just infidelity, it was intimacy. He had saved his gentleness, his warmth, his patience for the voice on the other end. The man who once whispered goodnight to me now whispered love to someone else while my body lay inches away. During the day, the phone never left that drawer. He acted normal, smiling faintly over breakfast, asking about errands, commenting about the weather. But his eyes gave him away. They were distant, far off, always elsewhere. I caught him glancing at the drawer once, his lips twitching into a half-smile as though remembering a private joke I would never be part of. I began to watch more closely. His shirt smelled faintly of cologne he never wore for me. His ties were knotted more carefully, his hair styled even for small errands. And when I asked him questions, where he was going, who he was meeting, he answered too quickly, too casually. Work. Just a friend. Nothing important. But the secret phone always buzzed after dark. One evening when he stepped out to take the trash, I opened the drawer again. My hands trembled as I unlocked the phone and scrolled through the texts. This time a new message flashed across the screen. Soon she'll know. What will you do then? My heart dropped. Whoever he was speaking to, they weren't just a shadow. They were bold. They knew I existed, and they knew I was close to discovering the truth. I scrolled further. She'll never leave you. She believes every lie. We're safe. Safe. The word made bile rise in my throat. He wasn't just hiding another life. He was confident I would remain silent even if I found out. That night, when he returned to bed, I couldn't stay still. I turned to him, my voice trembling. Who are you talking to? His body stiffened. What do you mean? The phone, I whispered. The one in the drawer. Who keeps calling you? For a long moment he said nothing. Then he exhaled sharply, rolling onto his side away from me. You're imagining things. Don't snoop where you don't belong. The words stabbed deeper than I expected. Not because they denied the truth, but because of how calmly he said them, as if my pain was irrelevant, as if his lies were worth more than my sanity. I stared at the back of his head, tears burning my eyes. For the first time I didn't cry quietly. The sobs broke from me raw and loud. But he didn't turn. He didn't comfort me. He didn't even acknowledge me. He just lay there silent, while my world collapsed beside him. The next morning he acted like nothing happened. Coffee. Small talk. Keys jingling as he left for work. But something had shifted in me. The fear that once kept me silent had begun to harden into something else. That evening, I waited until he went to shower. I opened the drawer one last time and stared at the phone glowing in the dim light. My reflection blurred in its black screen. I wanted to smash it, to throw it against the wall and shatter the secret he had buried inside it. But I didn't. Instead, I turned it on and scrolled further than I ever had. Photos. Dozens of them. None of me. None of us. Only him, with places I didn't recognize, faces I didn't know. And one picture my breath caught, him smiling in a way he hadn't smiled in years, his arm slung around someone else's shoulder. The face was half hidden in shadow, but the caption beneath it froze me completely. My real life. My knees buckled. My chest collapsed. I dropped onto the bed, clutching the phone so tightly it hurt. My real life. I wasn't his life. I was his cover. And as I sat there gasping for air, one thought burned through me like fire. If he had a secret life, then he was about to learn that secrets never stay buried forever. I sat there with the phone in my hands, the words "my real life" burning into my chest like a brand. My fingers trembled, scrolling through photo after photo, each one worse than the last. His secret wasn't just whispered calls, it was a second existence carved carefully behind my back. A smile he hadn't given me in years. A world he had built without me. When the bathroom door opened, I snapped the phone shut and shoved it back into the drawer. My heart thundered, my hands icy cold. He stepped out, toweling his hair, humming softly, his face calm. Too calm. Like nothing was wrong. Like the storm tearing me apart didn't exist in his world. That night, I couldn't lie beside him. I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to his steady breathing. How could he sleep so soundly while hiding a life that destroyed mine? By morning, I had made my choice. I waited until he left for work. Then, with hands steadier than I expected, I pulled the phone from the drawer again. This time, I didn't just scroll. I called the number that whispered "I love you" at midnight. The line rang once. Twice. Then a voice answered, familiar yet jarring. A man. Hello. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. Who is this? He asked again, his tone sharper now. I swallowed hard. This is his wife. The silence that followed was heavy. Then the man laughed softly, bitterly. So you finally found it. My chest tightened. What is this? Who are you? His voice lowered. The truth he never gave you. The truth you were never meant to hear. But if you found this phone, then maybe you already know. I hung up, my hands shaking. My stomach twisted, bile rising. Whoever he was, whatever he meant, one thing was clear. My husband had lied to me in ways deeper than I could imagine. When he came home that evening, I was ready. The phone sat on the table, screen glowing in the dim light. He froze in the doorway when he saw it. His eyes darted to me, then back to the phone. Where did you? He started, but I cut him off. Stop, I said, my voice shaking but firm. No more lies. No more silence. Tell me who he is. Tell me why there are photos. Tell me why you built a whole life behind my back. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His face tightened, anger flickering. You shouldn't have touched it. That's all you have to say? I whispered. Not an explanation, not even a denial, just that I shouldn't have found it? He slammed his hand against the table, the phone rattling. You don't understand. I stood, my tears burning hot. Then make me understand. For the first time, his mask slipped. His voice cracked, his shoulders slumped. Because with him I feel alive. With him I'm not trapped. With him I have a future. The words struck like lightning. My knees weakened, but I stayed standing, clutching the chair for balance. My future. His future. And none of it included me. Silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. He stared at me, waiting for me to scream, to beg, to collapse. But I didn't. I picked up the phone, held it in my hand and whispered, Then you've already chosen. His eyes widened. Wait. But I didn't wait. I set the phone down gently, picked up my bag and walked to the door. My hands shook, but my steps were steady. You built a secret life, I said quietly, turning back one last time. But tonight I walk back into mine. And you don't belong there anymore. His face twisted, anger and fear mixing, but I didn't stay to watch. I closed the door behind me, the click echoing like freedom. The night air was cold, but it filled my lungs with something sharp and alive. For the first time in years, the weight of lies slid off my shoulders. My hands still trembled, my chest still ached, but my steps were my own. The secret phone had shattered my world. But in its shards, I found something stronger than betrayal. I found the courage to leave. And as I walked down the street, the glow of the house fading behind me, I realized the truth. He could keep his midnight whispers. I would keep my future.